All right, so let's go ahead and let's make some cool looking text circles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Illustrator here. I'm going to go to File, New, and we'll make it 300 points by 300 points. All right, we'll go ahead and push OK here. And what I'll do is I will make sure that I do not select the stroke here. And what I'll also do is make sure that I add the rectangle. And for now, what we can do is we can make sure that it is black. Right now, the color of the squares don't matter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of add in these squares just like this. Maybe add in some space like this. And as long as they don't touch the sides, it should be good. Maybe make a few of these vertical ones here and maybe something like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push Command or Control A, and then I'm going to go to the brush here. We're going to make a new art brush. Okay. Make sure the direction of the arrow is going to the right, and you can see that we have a nice new brush here. All right. Delete everything, and then what we'll do is we'll make an ellipse tool, find the center, and just make a push Shift and Alt, just make a small circle. Now the stroke around this here, okay, the stroke is going to be this color here, and that actually looks pretty cool. I do like that quite a bit. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that the circle in the middle, so we can push Shift and Alt, is so that this entire circle is in the middle here. Now, what we'll do is we'll go to Object and we'll go to Path and we'll go to Outline Stroke, and that will turn it into an object we can go ahead and create. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it an off-white color. So I will make it something like 229 by 229 by 229. And I'll make it a gray color so it will not interfere with the color that we have set up for HUD or heads-up display in Xcode. Let's go ahead, let's make a new layer. And what we'll do is we will pretty much do the same thing. We'll go ahead, we'll start at a black here. And what we'll do is we don't want a circle, of course, we want squares. And I'm going to make this one a little bit different. I'm going to make it have a lot of these little lines here. And if you're a coder, this may seem a little bit odd to you. But you got to remember, in art, sometimes there's a lot of just a lot of stuff that you just kind of do, and there's not too much of a rhyme or reason to it. It just is simply there. So I'm just going to simply make a bunch of these long lines here, and maybe a couple of vertical lines, vertical squares, but not too many, something like that. Okay. Now I'm going to push Control A, and then we're going to go and make a new art brush, and we'll just make a new art brush here. Okay. Same thing. Make sure the arrow's to the right, and you can see that we have a new art brush. Delete everything. And again, what we'll do is we'll add an ellipse tool, and we'll move this to the center, and we'll kind of move it just like that. And the stroke, of course, will be this new art one, and I think that also looks pretty cool. Now let's expand this so that it is, just so that everything can fit in here. So pushing Shift and Alt here, and yeah, that looks pretty cool. I kind of like that, these couple extra items here. Now, we'll do the same thing. We'll go to Path and we'll go to Outline Stroke, and in this time we'll make it a somewhat bluish color, something like that. All right, somewhere up at the top here. As long as it's not too dark, it should be fine. And that's actually probably a bit too light, so maybe just a bit darker. Okay. We're going to repeat this exact same process. Add a new layer. Hide that one here, and well, it doesn't really matter what color our rectangle is because we'll be making it here. And I kind of like that one, but we'll make this one have thicker lines, but there'll be more of these lines here like that, and maybe a couple of thin ones like this. And I kind of like that idea of thick and thin, and something like that, something in the middle here, and maybe some ones down here like that, and that one's going to be a bit too small, and we'll kind of just add in some of these ones here, maybe add in something like this. Now this one is too So I'm going to bring that up here. Yeah, and I think that looks pretty good. All right, we'll select everything, and again, we'll make a new brush. Make sure it's an art brush, moving to the right. Delete everything. And lastly, we'll add an ellipse tool, find the center, and there you go. We'll add in a circle, and of course, we'll add in our new brush tool. And I also think that looks pretty neat. Let's make sure that it is all the way out so that we can maximize the circle. And yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll repeat that process of path, outline, stroke, and this time will be an orange color. And we do want to make sure that this is more of a reddish, an orange that kind of is different from the orange within Xcode. And I think that's probably pretty good. Might be a bit too close, so I'm just going to bring it down to maybe a more of a tomato color. Yeah, something like that here, okay? So now we need to go and export these, and we'll do that in the next tutorial, and we'll move everything over into Xcode. See you then.